There's a moment in grief where people stop asking you about how you're doing. Not because you're better, but because you got better at pretending. Hear me out. You are better at pretending that everything is okay. You are better at pretending that everything is okay. You learned how to smile. You learned how to smile while your chest feels tight. You've learned how to answer. You tell people you're okay. You tell people you're fine. Oh, I'm hanging in there. You know me, one day at a time. Here's the one I heard this morning, just living in the new normal. Meanwhile, your nervous system is over there fielding the complaints and trying to go through all of the pain just so you don't get humiliated. Your body knows you're not okay. Your body knows you're not okay. The grief knows you're not okay. Girl, let me tell you, the grief knows what's going on, and the grief is running the show. How's it running the show? Through the brain and the nervous system. Your brain knows you're not okay, but the pretending is just you surviving. It's just you getting through the surviving. And here's the worst parts. People reward you for it. How? And you take those rewards. They reward you for it and you take it. You take it like it's a crown. You take it like it's a crown to wear. The second you stop crying in public, the second you go back to work, the second you clean that house, they start thinking, man, look at her. She's doing so well. Look at how she's doing. Oh my goodness, she's standing upright. I would have thought she would have been in a fetal position for at least 9 months. No, you just learned how to perform grief, and you learned how to perform it for anybody who shows up. And today I want to talk about pretending, because pretending actually does something to the body. It actually does something to the body. And that's why people feel stuck all the time. And I don't think that they understand that's what it is. You come upon a grieving experience. You start to grieve. People start asking you about the grief. You give them the honest answer. This is really hard. I didn't know that I could do this. I didn't know I was going to be like this. You honestly give them the honest answer. You give them the answer that they asked for. And then they do that thing where they pull back. Oh, I can't imagine what that's like. Okay, I'll see you next week. They change the subject. They try to fix you. They tell you you're in a better place. Your person's in a better place. They tell you to be happy you had them for so long. They do that thing. And this is why many grievers feel like they're losing their minds months later, because without even realizing it, they've had to start pretending in their grief. Friends, we're already resisting it because we don't want it. We're reacting to it by yelling and screaming at everybody. We're reacting to our grief by yelling and screaming at everybody. And then we add pretending on top of that. And if what I'm saying is hitting your chest, if what I'm saying is making sense, you've got to look at the masterclass this Friday. I want to break down the worst parts of grief. And the truth is this, I'm actually thinking about this. I've been breaking down the worst parts of grief every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, here in the YouTube. I think by the time that I get there on Friday, I'm going to be like, the worst parts of grief is that you lost your person and that you are trying to figure this out without them. Think about that. You're having to do the toughest job of your life right now, and the person that you need to do the toughest job with is not here. But anyway, that was just my thoughts. I had that this morning at 4:45 because we're going deeper. I want to go deeper into the mind. I want to go deeper into the body, and I want to go deeper into the anxiety and the pretending. The physical pain that grief causes. I want to talk about that. Not the surface level stuff. That's why I created the story room. I created the story room so we can stop talking about the surface level grief. I want to talk about the real grief. I want to talk about what it is for you, the kind that nobody is talking about. And this is why I think the world is falling apart and misinterpreting our grief. The world is interpreting our grief, and we are going along with it, which is causing us to pretend. Why do we pretend? Most grievers are not pretending because they're fake. They're pretending because they're terrified. They're scared of the next thing that's going to happen. If I don't pretend that I'm okay, then what happens? We're terrified of falling apart. We're terrified of burdening people with our grief. We're also walking the room like it's our job to protect them from the grief also. We're terrified that they're not going to know what to do with our tears. And oh my gosh, if these tears start and they never stop, then what are we going to do? And because we don't know what to do, we start to function. And because we don't know what to do, we start to function, and we start to function a little bit at a time. So we go back to work. It's the best way to function. We answer all the text messages. I'm fine. Thumbs up. Thumbs up. We hide behind the thumbs up. We cook dinner. We keep parenting. We keep showing up. But internally, we are dying on the inside. We're dying. Your body is screaming for grief time. And here's the problem. Your nervous system is keeping score of everything that's going on. And it is moving the grief for you. It is moving the grief into a little black box so deep down, you almost feel like you can't even touch it. The body knows when you're suppressing pain. I'm going to say that again, and I'm going to say it louder for the ones in the back. Your body knows, and it knows when you're suppressing pain. It knows when you're ignoring the pressure in your chest. It knows that you're ignoring the exhaustion. It knows that the brain fog is really driving you crazy. And then it puts it all together. She's got the brain fog. She's got the exhaustion. She's got the chest pain. Bam! 2 a.m. panic. It's got to come out somewhere. It's got to come out sometime. And my friends, let me tell you something. This is not weakness. This is your grief stored. People think pretending makes grief smaller. But you know what it does? It actually does the opposite. It doesn't make it small and quiet. It makes it big and loud. So now you are carrying around this thing that you can't even imagine. How are you going to make the next step? How are you going to move? What are you pretending about? What part of the grief are you pretending about? What part of the grief are you pretending? How you're doing? How you're not crying? How you're showing up? Are you pretending at work? Are you pretending at church? Dude, you cannot come in here and fake it with me. This was me. I'm the queen of pretending. I'm the queen of this. We perform, and we perform to be strong. We perform that we're okay. And one of the biggest grief lies you were ever taught is be strong. You were taught be strong by your parents because you saw them do it. They saw their parents do it. They saw their parents do it. You absolutely saw it, just like I did, or it has been interpreted to you throughout your life. I have grievers right now in active grief, and their own parents are telling them to stop crying. Stop that crying right now. You don't need to do this. Yeah, I know. I know he's gone, but we're going to show everybody how strong we are as a family. So you start to tell yourself this. If you're not hearing it from somebody, you learned it. It is a learned behavior, and now you're putting it on yourself. You have to be strong for your kids. You have to be strong for the family. You have to be strong for work, strong for everybody else, while your own heart is breaking in half. Human beings have truly created an entire culture around emotional suppression. We're so good at it. We're so good at it, and it starts at a very young age. Stop that crying right now, or I'm going to give you something to cry for. You a big girl or a baby? Are you a big girl? You stop crying. So they've told you your entire life to stop crying, to stop shedding your emotions, to not stop showing people how you feel. I love my coffee. I need my coffee. And then they act shocked when people develop anxiety, burnout, rage, insomnia, emotional numbness. It's truly genius what we have done. What we have done as a human race is genius. And now when I come along and I say, no, we got it wrong. Here's the way we're supposed to be doing it. Then people freak out because of what I'm saying. No, you're going to carry it for the rest of your life. The griever becomes the emotional caretaker for everybody. Listen, it's not always, but most of the times it's always. I know that sounds like an oxymoron, but I just want you to know. Meanwhile, your body asks, who is holding the griever? Meanwhile, nobody is asking you, who's holding the griever? Who's taking care of the griever? Who's taking care of the griever? And eventually, pretending turns into isolation. Why? Because your body cannot keep pretending and acting like it's okay and feeling like it's okay and keep moving on. Your body cannot hold on to that. It cannot. Because now people believe that performance is the way that we should go. You trained yourself how to act in grief. You are training yourself how to act in grief every time you show up that way. Every time you tell someone you're fine, you are training your body in how to show up. This is why so many grievers tell me that they feel completely alone. And it's not because nobody loves them. And it's not because no one has shown up. It's because the person that did show up didn't help them, didn't know how to show up for them. Then you don't know how to show up as the griever. And now the two of you are standing in the room and nobody knows what the hell to do with this grief. It's crazy what we do. I did it. I did this for Erica. I became the strong one. I didn't know how to show up for her, so I became strong. And so the two of us were not telling the truth. Most of the time she was telling her truth, but I was holding back on my truth. Who taught you to stay strong? Where did you learn that? Where did you learn to stay strong? Be strong. They tell it to you too. I know they're telling it to you because they told it to me. They tell me to be strong all the time. Girl, you just need to be strong. I saw my parents be strong. Where'd you learn it? Grief is an emotional experience that takes place in your heart. Grief takes place in your heart. The remnants of the grief shows up in your body, your soul, and your spirit. Grief is also physical. Your body will carry this grief. It will carry the grief. So yes, grief is an emotional experience, but when it starts to seep out sideways, it's going to show up as headaches, stomach problems, exhaustion, the panic attack that I was talking about, shaking, the numbness, the inability to focus, the not knowing anybody's name. Also, your nervous system is going to turn parts off. It's going to turn parts of the brain off that it doesn't need. And the whole entire time that the body's doing what it needs to do, you're going to do what you think you're supposed to be doing, and you start suppressing the emotions. One, because they feel bad, and they are bad, and you don't want to feel them. Why? Because someone didn't tell you that a vibration is simply, an emotion is simply a vibration in your body, and you should feel that. It is a vibration. It is simply a vibration in your body. It will come and go. But we avoid these emotions. We avoid what the body is doing. And then we come in to see Sharon at the grief school and we say, I'm stuck. I'm frozen in time. I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. And then I turn to you and I say, you just need to feel it. You need to feel like shit. You need to feel like shit. But here's the other part. You need to feel like shit with me. Let's sit down and talk about it. Your system never got the message that it was safe to process these emotions. Your system was never taught that it's safe to feel negative emotions. So you stayed in survival mode. Friends, you cannot heal this grief from survival mode. You have to get into grieving. You have to stay in grieving as long as you can. Survival mode is exhausting. And that's what we're going to be talking about in the masterclass. And we're going to talk about it deeply. What is the brain doing? What does the nervous system do? Why does pretending create suffering? And what you actually need to do instead. Because nobody taught you how. Nobody has taught you how. We just taught you how to hide. We taught you how to avoid. We taught you how to stay away from it. We taught you how to pretend. I'm going to ask you a question right now. Where do you feel the grief in your body? Is it physical? Do your hips hurt? Do your joints hurt? Are you exhausted? Are you tired? Who told you that? Who warned you about that? Who told you that this grief was going to show up in your body and it would be okay? Who has ever told you that? When I tell you this is the worst experience of your life, this is one of the worst experiences of your life. There's more coming. There are more coming. If we live long enough, each and every one of us will have multiple grieving experiences throughout our life. And each and every one of us will have different grieving experiences throughout our life. And each one of these grieving experiences will be different because they're based on our relationship with our person. They're based on how intimate our relationship was with that person, how loving it was, how caressing it was, how much we talked with that person. Look, I'm going to grieve my dad so much different than I'm going to grieve my mailman, Bob. I've had a 53-year relationship with my dad. I've had a 30-year relationship with Bob. I don't know Bob's address. I know Bob has a wife named Carol. I know he has 3 kids, Billy, Bobby, and Booby. I know all of that about Bob. We talk every day. My dog bit him 10 years ago, and he was really upset about it. And I got a notice from the post office that I had to keep the dog away, but that didn't ruin my relationship with Bob. I know Bob, but Bob died of a heart attack. I'm going to grieve Bob so much different than I'm going to grieve my dad, who showed up for me, who gave me love, who talked to me, who trained me. We're going to have multiple grieving experiences throughout our life. This is the worst experience of your life, but it will not be the last. And people will keep disappearing every time you're in an act of grief. It's a painful truth, my friends. This is a painful truth. And we start with grief by telling the truth. Some people only know how to handle your grief if it is neat, clean, quiet, and polite. If you wrap it up with a bow, they will take it all day long. If you make it nice for them, they will give you a sympathy card. They're going to give you a sympathy card because you gave them the grief nice and neat. But let me tell you about real grief. It's messy. It cries in Target, on the cereal aisle. Real grief is angry. Real grief forgets things. Real grief makes you not want to be here anymore. Real grief makes you not want to hang out with your friends. Real grief makes you cry all the time. Real grief makes you bite your kid's head off 10 times a day. Real grief messes with your stomach. It messes with your energy. Real grief cannot stay positive. And I don't care how many accolades they give you and all the bullshit that they tell you. Real grief does not stay positive. And when you stop pretending and you start living in the real grief, they disappear. Not because your grief is wrong, because the pain made them uncomfortable. And if the pain is making them uncomfortable and they are all the people that you had and now they're gone, that is a secondary loss. Girl, we have secondary losses all day long. But it also teaches you something important. When they leave, your job is to learn the something important. Who can actually sit with your truth? Who can sit with your truth? Friday in the masterclass, we can sit with your truth because it's going to be a 1-hour lecture and then a 1-hour grief share where we actually sit in the truth. And I'm going to teach the training in there and we're going to break it down. Who can sit with your loneliness? Who can help? Are you allowed to talk about the emotional isolation with? Where can you go that you can stop pretending, that the anxiety will stop showing up and the grief pain can be there and it's absolutely okay? Friday in the masterclass. Because these are the worst parts of grief that nobody prepared you for. These are the worst parts of grief that no one prepared you for. Let's talk about what healing actually looks like. Healing doesn't mean pretending you're okay. Healing means telling the truth safely. Healing means creating grief time. Healing means learning how to sit with the pain instead of running from it, whether no one is there or not, whether no one shows up for you or not. You sit in that pain and you do not run from it. Healing means understanding your nervous system instead of judging yourself. Talking. You talk. You lean in. You're learning and you're learning and you're learning and you lean in. And then you go after the much needed grief work. You go after that relationship with dad. You might even grieve the relationship with Bob. I don't know. It's up to you. You're going to guide me and I'm going to help you. And that's the work we do inside the grief school. I teach you how to talk and where to talk and what to say. I don't teach you how to talk. You already know how to talk. But I give you a safe space to talk, right? We talk about the things that we need to talk about. I cut off the parts that we don't need to talk about, and we start from there. Your grief deserves more than being strong. Your grief deserves more than staying busy. You deserve real tools, real understanding, and real support. And more importantly than anything, you need to stop carrying this alone. If this lecture felt like somebody finally explains what's happening inside of you, join me Friday. Join me Friday for the worst part of grief. And we're going to go deep into the mind, the body, the anxiety, the pretending, the emotional overwhelm, and why grief feels so impossible some days. And then we're going to do a lecture first, and then we're going to do the grief share, and we're going to come together and we're going to be together as a group. And at the end, I'm going to give you guys an assignment that you can take with you. You're actually going to have something you can take with you. I'm really going to be pouring into you. We're going to be giving back to you. It is not therapy. It's not fake. It's real grief education. Here's the deal, friends. Click the link, griefdiscovery.com. Use the code BEGIN, BEGIN, and save $20 on the class. Use the code BEGIN. Begin your healing. Begin moving the pain. Friends, this is the grief work that I wish I had after Austin died. I am the person I wish I had. Because pretending destroyed me. Becoming strong destroyed me. And in the process, I destroyed my child. And in the process, I destroyed my child. I know I'm not the only one here. I know I'm not the only one here that has gone through this. All right, friends. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hey, Kalichi. She says, I felt physically exhausting, appetite changed, chest tightening. Yep. I love you, Kalichi. All right, guys. I'll see you in the next class.